welcome to Montreal. Welcome to the third round of the Short Track Super League trucks. Tonight we're doing something different than turn left. We're going to be turning left and right and then some more left and right here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. And there you see, you are looking at Kevin Davis. He just came off the modified race as well. We had a little bit of a hiccup getting started here. I'm sorry about that. We are in the final minute taken away of practice. It looks like we have some drivers here that weren't in our modifieds race that have posted some good lap times here. It looks like the track is fairly slippery for these guys, so let's bring up some information here. There you see the map of the track. The start-finish line leads us into a tight left and right-hander, a hairpin basically. Then there is basically coming back to the left of your screen on the bottom there, we're turning clockwise. You see a chicane left-right, then a chicane basically left-right, then another one right-left, and that leads us on the left side of your track map to a hairpin at the end of the track with a long straightaway that brings us back to yet another chicane, and that chicane is very, very famous for taking out some drivers that were leading races or leading championships, and that chicane, the exit of that chicane has a wall that is famously called the Wall of Champions, as it has been an embarrassment for several championship drivers that have ended their race there. So tonight we're going to be doing 30 laps here. There will not be any full course cautions unless the race control invokes them, but iRacing will just be limited to the local yellows. It looks like we have nice weather here tonight, 65 degrees Fahrenheit this afternoon, I should say, 35% relative humidity, partly cloudy sky, and no winds to speak of. The track is 91 degrees, which is not extremely hot, but it's not really all that cool either, and that is probably what causes these guys to be slip-sliding around a little bit. And here you see one of these walls. You see the drivers sliding around a little bit. Qualifying is individual. They have 2 laps to try and set their best lap time, like we normally do. They cannot see each other, but we can see them, and that is always good to know. It's going to take him a little bit to get a lap in, and let's see if we can bring up your championship standings. There you see the championship standings. No, that is not the correct standings here. Let me fix that really quickly. That is also not correct. I apologize for that. I had to make a quick change from one track to the other, and it looks like I did forget something. See if it works now. Nope. Unfortunately, the standings, I have made a mistake putting these in. Can't show you the standings. I apologize for that. We'll have to make do without them. I'll make sure it's correct the next time. There, where you going now, that is that final chicane with the pit entrance on the now your right side, and here on your left side with that big tire wall, that is the Wall of Champions, as they call it, where many top drivers have been caught out, made mistakes, and seen their chances die to their embarrassment. You are currently looking at Brant Allen. So far there have not been any times posted by the drivers. Obviously they first have to run their out lap, and then they have to run their 2 qualifying laps. They get 10 minutes for that as opposed to 5 on the ovals. So they get a little bit more time. Brant Allen here in the number 32 truck. And let's see, we have Matthew Telder, who just came off a good race in the modifieds. Samuel Fontaine, that scored a second position in our earlier race. And there we have the first lap time being posted by Adam Sturgill. And it looks like he gets it all wrong at the beginning of his second lap, and that basically ends his hopes for a good qualifying, or at least a better qualifying, because you have to run your laps clean. You cannot have any incidents. iRacing will disallow any lap time that has had incidents on that lap. We see Samuel Fontaine now jumping into the second position with a 1:42.887. Good lap time. And he is about 1.5 seconds slower than Sturgill. And most of these guys are obviously not all that used to driving ovals. I'm sorry, road courses. They're more used to driving ovals, obviously. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they're getting along. Had another league I broadcasted yesterday where they were also oval guys on a road course, and you'll see some guys having a little trouble adapting to this stuff. It is a completely different animal as far as driving techniques, braking techniques is concerned. The guys are on fixed setup. That means that everybody runs basically the same technical specifications of the car. The only things they can change are brake bias and steering ratio, and that basically helps them. Brake bias is a system where you can change brake pressure. You can divert brake pressure to either the front or the back wheels a little bit more. And bringing that brake bias to the front will give your car the risk of locking up when you're braking into the turns, but bringing it too far back will risk you locking up the back end, and when you lock up the back end, you basically just go the wrong way around instantly. Let's see who else we got on the track here. Kevin Anderson, currently in the 7th position. And we see that Mark Herzog has brought it up to the 2nd position, only 200th of a second slower than Sturgill. Well, that's going to be an interesting fight there on the front. And we have Richard Benedetto bringing his car on the track. He's currently the slowest driver that has posted to... you're not supposed to do that, buddy. This is a one-way street. Kevin Anderson in the 81 car. There you have him. Hard on the brakes for yet another one of those chicanes. Oh, I'm sorry, this is the hairpin. And then here where they accelerate, that is pretty much a very long straight. It runs along the Olympic basin for the rowing championships. Back when Montreal hosted the Olympic Games, I think that was, I'm not even sure when that was. It's been a while. And they made a semi-permanent racetrack out of this man-made island that hosted a lot of those Olympic events. And there you see Kevin Anderson crossing the line. And I do believe that was his 2nd lap, so I don't see a time allowed there. 1:45.438. That is his quickest lap so far. We still have Jason Cole out on the track. Jason's having a little trouble getting that thing turned around. He's off track with all 4 wheels. That means that this lap will be disallowed. 7 minutes 40 seconds into the 10-minute qualifying session, and Jason is currently the final car on the track. There you see him coming at that hairpin turn here. Very tight hairpin. He gets it a little bit wrong with understeer there, hitting the wall. There's not a lot of runoff area on this track for a road course. That is not unusual in North American tracks. Walls fairly close to the track. This long straightaway brings him back to that final chicane, and that is, as I said, where that wall of champions is. where many of the top drivers in Formula One, Indy cars, and even NASCAR, and sports cars as well, IMSA, they have seen their races end at that wall. It looks like the 54 is opting to go into the pit lane. You see a fairly straightforward entry to the pit lane. And I'm not 100% sure what the pit lane speed limit is, but it'll probably be something like 40 miles an hour. Looks like we have no more drivers on the track, so let's quickly bring up that race information once again. The track map. The track in total has a length of 2.68 miles, and it's kind of basically a long stretch on one side of the island and a long stretch with a bunch of chicanes on the other side of the island. Formula One races here, Indy cars have raced here, IMSA sports cars race here, GTEs have raced here, GT3s have raced here. There's a lot of racing going on here in Montreal. A lot of drivers love the track and enjoy running here. So let's see how that turns out here tonight for these guys with the trucks. A change from turning left and pretty much just working the throttle and maybe just leaning on the brake a little bit to turning all kinds of ways, left and right, shifting gears, braking hard, chicanes, long sweeping turns, hairpins. It is just a completely different kind of racing that they are doing here tonight from what they're used to. It looks like we're getting ready to go racing, and we'll bring up the grid here for you. It's going to be a rolling start. iRacing does not make them run the entire lap. They're lined up here on that long straightaway towards that chicane. So your pole sitter is Adam Sturgill. Alongside him on the first row will be Mark Herzog. Then it's going to be Samuel Fontaine and Jake Brooks on the second row. It's Matthew Telder and Brent Allen on the third row. Kevin Anderson and Jeff Horniak on the fourth row. The fifth row will be Richard Benedetto and Kevin Davis. Jason Coe and Michael Steffen on the sixth row. And then on the final spot on the seventh row, it'll be Brian Smith. We have 13 takers here on the grid. So we're looking forward to some road racing here. And we hope you're going to enjoy this as well and have some fun. Like I said, totally different animal here. Let's reload the scoring here real quickly. Make sure everything is working. There we are. Cars are lined up. We're still waiting on Matthew Telder to grid up and Brian Smith in the 069. I haven't seen him yet. And Michael Steffen there in the 669. That should be the white car on the back end of that row there. And once again, we're still waiting for Matthew Telder. There he is coming in. And we're also waiting for Brian Smith. And he's going to have to hurry. He might be opting to start from the pit lane. They have that option. I haven't seen him at all, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. All right, field is rolling behind the truck. The little weaving that you see the guys doing is to try and get a little bit of heat in those tires. It looks like it's a little slippery tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. And you see the 32 there of Brent Allen waving a little bit. Side by side, they'll go through the chicane and then onto the main straightaway. They will be getting the green flag as they come towards the start finish. The first turns are quite tight, so they'll have to be careful going in there. Nicely lined up already. There we go. The green flag is out. Let's go see up front there. Adam Sturgill and Mark Herzog. There they come towards the first turn. And it's Sturgill taking the lead here into turn one. Herzog into second place. Jake Brooks into 57 in third. Then it's Samuel Fontaine in fourth. It's Matthew Telder in 5th. It's Brent Allen in 6th. Kevin Davis in 7th. Horniak is in 8th. There you have him. Kevin Anderson, Richard Benedette, Michael Steffen, Jason Coe, and Brian Smith did start from the pit lane. There's where we are back at the lead. Adam Sturgill here with Mark Herzog right behind him. Looks like Jake Brooks is dropping back a little bit already, having a little bit more trouble getting that power down. Samuel Fontaine behind him with Matthew Telder in 5th and Grant Allen. And Mark Herzog is right here behind the leader. Coming towards the hairpin now. Let's ride along here. And as you can see, they're hard on the brakes, shifting back. We can bring on that dashboard and give you the gears. They're in 1st gear here, and then it's hard on the gas through the gears to the straightaway here. That's going to lead them to that final chicane. Up to 4th gear, 165, 170 miles an hour, and then hard on the brakes again. 2nd or 1st gear. Ooh, a little bit of the back end stepping out. There you have the Wall of Champions on your right. And let's go take a look further back. We have Benedetto and Steffen and Horniak using the curbs there when they come off that turn. Let's go back up front because Adam Sturgill and Mark Herzog are together there fighting for the lead. Only half a second between them right now. Ooh, it looks like Sturgill's having a little bit of trouble there, and Herzog hits that curb a little too hard and almost runs it into the wall there. And here we are, another chicane left and right, and the trouble here is that coming off this turn, you're not in a straight line. You can see that getting the power down is a little bit tricky for these guys. It's very easy to give it too much throttle, and then the back end, the wheels will spin, and the back end will step out, and you have to be on your game to catch that car. Looks like Herzog is now coming to the inside, but that will be the outside when they reach the hairpin. There you have him. The 47 on the outside of Sturgill there. And then back on the gas. Ooh, looks like we have some guys in trouble here. That is the 21, and that is Kevin Davis, and he got himself in trouble. Let's bring back and see what happens here. He kind of cuts the corner and then misses his apex on the wrong side of the curbs, and then gets it wrong in the second part as well. Hopefully he can get her back on track and in the right direction. Sturgill and Herzog still fighting for that lead. It looks like Sturgill has set the fastest lap with a 141.9, and that is not more than, what is it, 0.2 of a second quicker than Herzog. And Brooks is in 3rd. He's got a little bit of distance on Telder here. And Brant Allen. Ooh, Brant Allen gets it wrong just as we wanted to take a look at him. And he's trying to get out of the way quickly here. That is good sportsmanship. Brings it back on track. Meanwhile, it's Kevin Anderson taking that position from him. Samuel Fontaine must have had an issue because he is now back in 6th position, and he passes that 32 car as well. Then it's Horniak, Michael Steffen, and let me see, it looks like Benedetto is running really slow here. Kevin Davis has gone into the pit. Not sure what happened to him. Benedetto looks like that front end and rear end of that car has been beat up pretty bad. Ooh, that was another incident. I was trying to see if there was anything we could see about Benedetto. I don't believe so. Looks like Sturgill is getting things under control here. He is walking away from Mark Herzog. Mark stuck with him there for the first couple of laps, but it looks like he's having a little bit more trouble hanging on now. This is a really fast straightaway and turning into that slow chicane here, the Wall of Champions. It's so easy to get it wrong. Jake Brooks in 3rd position into that chicane as well. It looks like these trucks can take those high sausage curbs pretty well. I usually race open wheel cars here, and trust me, you don't want to hit those curbs in open wheelers. Matthew Telder is in 4th position. It's Samuel Fontaine in 5th. Brant Allen in 6th. And it's Horniak in 7th. Kevin Anderson behind him. It's Michael Steffen in the 9th position. Looks like he has a little bit of damage on that front end of the car. Jason Coe is in 10th. Richard Benedetto is in 11th. And his car looks pretty beat up. I don't know what he's been doing, but Kevin Davis is in the pits. Doesn't look like there's a lot of movement going on there, and it looks like Brian Smith is out. So let's take another look here at Sturgill and Herzog. There is Mark Herzog in the 47 car. They're on their way to that hairpin turn. Let's go right along with him once more. Sharp turn, as you can tell by the hand movement, and it's on the gas, and you can tell that he is having major problems getting the power down. The rear wheel's spinning around. He has to correct and make sure that that nose stays headed in the right direction. On his way to the final chicane here, right in front of the bridge, he'll hit the brakes, shift down back to 1st gear, hitting those curbs hard. You got to be careful with that. There we go on the main straightaway. The pits are on your left there. That's the start-finish line. I'm back on the brakes here, back into 1st gear, left and right. And once again, trying to get that power down. And as you can tell, he has to be a little bit careful with that. Another chicane here, and once again, he's not afraid to take those curbs. Another wall right at the exit of that chicane. And then here, a little bit wider chicane here, left turn. And then on this right-hander, you have to be really careful trying to get that power down. As you can see, it takes a while for the car to straighten out. The straight isn't really straight. And then we go under the bridge there towards another chicane. First right and then left. And he gets it wrong. And he's getting it all turned up here. And now he's got to figure out how to get it back in the right direction. Let's take a look at what happens once again. There he comes. Underneath the bridge, getting on the brakes. And he looks like he loses it on braking, and that means that he's might have his brake bias too far to the rear, and that back end just wants to swing around. He's back on his way again. And let's go check on Jake Brooks, because Jake Brooks is obviously going to be benefiting from that. Jake is now 4.4 seconds behind, and it looks like the field is stretching out significantly here. Samuel Fontaine has worked his way back up to 4th. He's got Matthew Telder there right behind him. That is 4th and 5th position. Fontaine in front in the Pennzoil car, and Matthew Telder in the purple car. And they're looking at the 21 of Kevin Davis. It looks like Kevin is back out. He's a lap down. He's going to get lapped by these cars here as well. It looks like Kevin is having a little hard time. And that's what I said earlier. Some of these guys are just not that familiar with road course racing. They don't do it very often. They may not even ever have been on this track. This is it's something new to them, and it takes a little bit of adaptation from running ovals towards this. Both are just very different forms of racing, and both have their own difficulties. Ooh, there we see Telder going over that curb, trying to get that power down. It looks like he's having trouble keeping that back end straight as well. And the next chicane is a right-left. Ooh, and the O2 is pretty much doing the same thing as we saw Herzog do, losing it under braking, and that tells me that they're probably playing with that brake bias a little bit, and not in a good way. Let's go see what happened here to Horniak. Ooh, Horniak tries to avoid running into the 21 car of Davis, and has to take evasive action on the side of the track there. He's also back on his way. Let's go check on the leader. That is Adam Sturgill. Just starting a new lap, lap number 7. And then Mark Herzog behind him by about almost 10 seconds now. Then 6.4 seconds further back, it's Jake Brooks, Samuel Fontaine, and it looks like Samuel has shaken off Matthew Telder, and it looks like Matthew Telder had an incident because Brent Allen has also passed him. So Brent Allen is, Brent almost turns it around there. Brent Allen has picked up 5th position, and Telder is now in 6th. Horniak is in 7th. Anderson is in 8th. Stefan is in 9th. Benedetto is in 10th. Jason Coe is running in the 11th position. He is having some trouble, looks like. Kevin Davis into 21. He's still running. And you can tell he's being pretty careful there. And Brian Smith, as we said earlier, he is out. Ooh, Sturgill coming off the hairpin here, trying to get up to speed. He must have had a little issue, because I think it's Mark Herzog that has now 3.2 seconds of a deficit here. There you see him in the background. That is him. And Jake Brooks is also following there. The purple car in between there, that looks like Jason Coe. It is. So Sturgill still in the lead, but it looks like he's losing a little bit of ground to Herzog, or rather Herzog gaining it back on him. There you see Herzog coming after him, the 47 car. And it looks like Sturgill is dealing with back markers there. That is Benedetto that he just passed. Mark Herzog is having the same issue here. The Benedetto's car looks like it's beat up pretty bad. Jake Brooks in the 57 car in 3rd position. He's about 6 seconds behind Herzog. Sturgill 3 seconds on Herzog. Samuel Fontaine is in 4th, running by himself here. Brent Allen also running by himself. Telder running by himself. And we have an issue for Benedetto once again. Let's bring that back for you. He just misses his braking points, it looked like, and takes a shortcut on the second part of the chicane, bringing it back on track. Still running. Let's go check on Kevin Davis in the 21 car. Sturgill still in the lead. Ooh, we have an issue here with Telder. Once again, that looks like the same place he went off before. Let's go check and see what happens here. Bring it back a little bit further. There he comes. On that back stretch, I guess you can call it. And once again loses it under braking, so he might want to consider putting that brake bias a little bit further forward. And he made it back on track. He's running once again. Still hanging on to 6th position. Let's check here on Jake Brooks. Oops, we had Michael Stefan having an issue here. That's the same turn that we saw Telder having an issue, and it looks like they're having a little bit of trouble with finding their braking points there. So basically, the drivers on these road courses, they find markers on the side of the track, like signs or bridges or posts or fence posts or trees or anything you can use, and you use those markers to determine your braking points. And that way you can make sure that you do it the same way every time you get to that turn. And you can do the same thing with your acceleration points, your steering points. you try to get your markers. Sometimes you'll hear crew chiefs saying on the radio, just keep hitting your marks. That's what he's talking about. You're trying to hit your marks, your braking points, your steering points, your acceleration points. And for guys that are new on the track and new to road racing, that is something that just sometimes is a little bit difficult. Now, as I was telling you that, it looks like Mark Herzog has passed Adam Sturgill, and I'm going to try and find where that happened. There you have it. It's on that backstretch, that curved straightaway, towards that chicane that starts with a right-hander, and it looks like Herzog is bringing it to the inside. He's already passed Sturgill before they get to the turn. All right, let's bring her back live here. It's Herzog now in front by about 2.2 seconds, walking away from Adam Sturgill, it looks like. And there you have Sturgill in second position. Sturgill is about 10 seconds ahead of Jake Brooks here in the third spot. He is about 8 seconds ahead of Samuel Fontaine here in the Pennzoil car. And 16 seconds behind him, it's Brant Allen in the number 32, the blue car. There's your leader, Mark Herzog. And once again, heading towards that chicane where we've seen several guys lose the back end under braking. And it looks like your two leaders are getting it right this time. No real close battles on the track. It looks like Kevin Anderson here following Jeff Horniak by about 2 seconds. Both are looking to be fairly cautious. So let's keep an eye on our leaders here. We can ride along with Adam Sturgill in second position, and you're looking at Herzog, the leader, ahead of you. They're bouncing over those curbs really hard, and you can tell that getting the power down is just an issue. It's very difficult not to spin the tires. Ooh, it runs a little bit deep and wide here. Looks like some understeer. Ooh, once again, the back end stepping out as he hits the gas. The way to prevent that is to, and he gets a little sideways under braking as well. The way to prevent that back end stepping out is to short shift up to the next gear, so you're running less revs and therefore you have a little bit less power on that rear end. They're coming up to a back marker. That's the 21 of Kevin Davis. Sturgill once again sliding that back end around, and he does a very good job catching it. I will say nothing of that, but the problem is that he's wearing those tires down way faster than he should be. We're on lap 11 of 30. It'll be interesting to see if we're going to do some pit stops. I'm not sure if they can make it on fuel, but I would believe that they can actually do those 30 laps on fuel. And there he is in the hairpin. Once again, trying to get that power down. And once again, to avoid that spin, you could shift a little bit earlier. Brant Allen, we see him having some issues here. Let's go see what happened. That's the 32 car in 5th position. Ooh, just hitting his apex too early there and missing the second part of the turn. Kevin Davis has gone back to the pits. Looks like Jake Brooks didn't get it quite correctly here in the hairpin. Well, not too bad, not too bad. Ooh, hard on that curb here by the Wall of Champions. I guess these trucks can take a pretty good beating. Like I said, I usually run open wheelers, and you would not be able to keep that car in one piece if you would hit those high curves with an open wheeler. It's a little bit different in the trucks, obviously. Fontaine right there in pursuit of Jake Brooks. He has about 2.3 seconds of a deficit. Nice livery there in that Pennzoil car. Matthew Telder has gone by. Ooh, that was Brent Allen turning it around once again. Let's bring that back for you. There you have it. He gets it wrong in the first turn, and he turns it around and brings her back in the right direction. He's rolling once again. Looks like these guys are showing some tire wear on lap 12 already, and as I said, it's spectacular to look at when the back end steps out coming off the turn, but the problem is that you're wearing those rear tires down way too quickly. Sturgill getting it right here. You can hear the engine puffing and revving up there just when it sounds like when they spin those tires a little bit. You have to be on your game here. It looks like Samuel Fontaine is the first of the top drivers that is coming into the pits, and I'm sure he's eager to get some fresh rubber on that machine. Long pit road. It's going to take him a while to get there. Distance to Matthew Telder behind him is about 31 seconds, so he should be able to bring it back out in front of Telder. The right and left side tires for him, and he's ready to go. And he's still in 5th position. Well, he dropped to 5th position, I should say. Telder did go by him. There's Telder in turn 1. And it looks like Fontaine is right on Telder's tail as he comes out of the pits. Now, Fontaine will be on fresh tires. He's going to give him a little bit of time, like a half a lap to a lap, to warm him up a little bit. But as soon as he got that rubber on working temperature, he should be able to make Telder's life a little bit more difficult. You can see Telder sliding a lot more than the car behind him, and especially here getting on the gas is where it should work for Fontaine. It looks like Telder has already understood that he's just a sitting duck, and he's letting Fontaine pick back that 4th position. Fontaine is 32 seconds behind Jake Brooks in 3rd. Let's go check on Jake here. Look, he hits those sausages really, really hard. Horniak back in trouble. Let's go see what happened to Horniak. Ooh, same turn. He's having trouble finding the right braking point. And once again, it's the back end that it doesn't lock up, but there's just too much brake pressure probably on that rear end. And that looks like the, what is it? That was the 81 of Kevin Anderson going by. That is he is in 6th position. Took that away from Kevin Horniak. Matthew Telder into the pits. As we saw him slip sliding around a little bit when Fontaine was with him. That looks like a pretty good idea. And he's given the people behind him some good advice. Patience. As much as this sport is about going fast, patience is a virtue. We have Jeff Horniak also entering the pits here in the 61 car. That car still looks really well. I don't see any damages on that car. So Jeff Horniak has been off a couple times, but he's doing all right. He hasn't damaged the car, so that's a good thing. Let's go check on Telder. He's getting ready to go back out. In the O2 car, still in 6th position. The field is stretched out really significantly. Jeff Horniak has lost his 7th position now to Brent Allen. There you see him going by. This is where the exit of the pit lane is, so he's picking up a position here in the 32 car. looks like Brandt is behind. That's Mark Herzog, so he's a lap down on the leader now. Herzog still firmly in the lead. He's got a 6.7 advantage over Adam Sturgill. Adam, there you have him in the green car coming towards you right now. And Adam has a 24.6 second advantage over Jake Brooks. And then 24 seconds further back, it's Samuel Fontaine hanging on to that 4th spot. Samuel has made a pit stop. The top 3 guys have not. Kevin Anderson is in 5th in the 81 car. He has not been in just yet. Matthew Telder in 6th has been in the pits. Brant Allen has been in the pits. And Horniak has been in the pits. There we see what looked to be a bit of an incident. Oh, when he gets that chicane wrong, that's going to give him a slowdown penalty. And that brings, who was that? That brings Mark Herzog by him. That is not for position. That was there. And then it looks like Adam Sturgill is headed for pit lane to get some new rubber. There you have him. And that leaves with Mark Herzog pretty much way out in front currently, but he has not yet been in the pit. Sturgill now coming back out, it looks like. No, not quite. That's because we were still on delay. There he is, he's back out. Jake Brooks has picked up 2nd position, but like I said, Herzog and Brooks have not yet pitted. Other than that, we have everybody in the pits, or have been in the pits. Michael Steffen now. Kevin Davis, it doesn't look like he's moving anymore. And Benedetto and Smith have left the race. Herzog in the lead. 32 seconds on Jake Brooks. He should be able to keep Jake Brooks behind him if he pitted now. Lap 16, so we're just over halfway. And mind you that the lap times for the people on older tires are a lot higher than they were in the beginning. A 146 as opposed to a 142 of his best lap. And Herzog is also coming in. Jake Brooks still on pursuit here on that straightaway towards the final chicane. Try to keep an eye of whether Herzog... Oh, it looks like Brooks is going into the pits as well, so that means that Herzog is going to retain that lead as he comes out of the pits. Still working on that machine, left tires. Jake Brooks coming in. And let's see where Sturgill is. There he is. Ooh, it looks like Sturgill is going to be picking up... No, he's not going to pick up the lead. Herzog is already out. Sturgill back in the 2nd spot. Jake Brooks still in the pits. Let's see if he can bring it back out in front of Fontaine. No, he cannot. Fontaine is already passing him here. So Samuel Fontaine now in the 3rd position. And there we have Jake Brooks coming out. That looked like a fairly long pit stop to me. Alright, so let's go check on your running order here. We have Mark Herzog is your leader. It's Adam Sturgill in 2nd position, only 1.4 seconds between these guys. Samuel Fontaine is in 3rd, he's 18 seconds behind Sturgill. Then it's Jake Brooks in 4th, 11 seconds behind Fontaine. 55 seconds between Brooks and Telder. 17 between Telder and Allen. Kevin Anderson is in 7th. Jeff Horniak is in 8th. And Jason Coe is in the 9th position. And it looks like Steffen and Davis are in the pits waiting this one out. Sturgill is rapidly gaining on Herzog here. And this is for position. This is for the lead. Coming towards that final chicane. Hard on the brakes. Both taking those curbs fairly hard. It looks like, ooh, Sturgill going through the grass there, coming off the turn. Herzog keeps that lead for now. Turn number 1. Turn number 2. Both on fresh tires, so they're feeling racy. Let's ride along here with Adam. Oh, once again, oversteer as he gets on the gas. That is going to eat those tires up. You got to be so careful not to do that. Once again, into another chicane. Ooh, he gets a little bit wide on the first part, and therefore he gets it a little bit wrong on the second part as well. Towards the hairpin now. It looks like Herzog has got a little bit of distance on him now, about 1.4 seconds back on that back straightaway. Once again, you see Adam Sturgill eager to get on the gas, and it just makes the back end step out. And he misses the apex on that first part of the chicane a little bit, and therefore he runs over that curb on the second part really hard. That's not helping. Herzog has ran the fastest lap of the race here, a 141.64. And remember, we were looking at his lap time as he was on old tires coming into the pits. That was a 146, so the difference for Herzog between old tires and newer ones is 5 seconds a lap. That is enormous. And it looks like he's getting pretty comfortable on this track, and it looks like he's really throwing that car around. Ooh, there we have the number 32 of Brant Allen in front of him, and he was seemingly a little bit in trouble coming off that turn there. Now he's in between them. Ooh, he's trying to get out of the way. He takes a shortcut. And Sturgill sliding off that turn again. On the brakes. And then back on the gas. Let's see how he does it this time. Yeah, once again, he just has the tendency to give it a little bit too much throttle and sliding that backhand. And it looks great, but it's not fast. I will say he's doing an awesome job keeping it in a straight line and correcting that, but it's not fast, and it eats up those tires. Once again, so hard on those curves. Cars on two wheels coming through that turn. Brant Allen is bringing it into the pits, and when they park it that early, that is not a good sign, because that's not where his pit stall is. That's basically where you park it with the escape button, and that means that calculates a tow towards his pit, but that's not a good sign. Bring her back up here to Mark Herzog. Still leading this race by about a second and a half now on Adam Sturgill. Samuel Fontaine is in third place. He's about 24 seconds behind. Jake Brooks is in fourth. Ooh, a little wide in turn 1 and 2 there. Matthew Teller is in fifth. Large gaps between those guys. Kevin Anderson in 6th. Jeff Horniak in 7th. Brant Allen is no longer running, it doesn't look like. Jason Coe is still running, but he's coming into the pits as we pick him up here. Let's see what the problem is. Well, he's got quite a bit of damage on the rear end. I do believe he also has some damage on the front end. Yeah, you can tell that hood has been wrinkled up a little bit. There he comes into his pit stall. Let's see what is being done here. Yep, he gets new tires. That's always a good sign. That means that he still thinks he can do something. And let's go check back on your leader as he passes by the pit lane there. The 47 of Mark Herzog in first position, 2.3 seconds now. Jason Coe coming back out of the pits. Mark Herzog 2.45 seconds now on Sturgill. It looks like Sturgill's having a little bit of trouble keeping up, and ooh, he's really rough on that car. Now, I'm fairly sure these NASCAR trucks can handle that rough driving over the curbs. That's not my worry. It just means that he's not really where he wants to be as far as the handling is concerned. He's drifting out of that turn pretty much the entire way. And once again, I commend him for doing a great job with that car, but it's not fast. It's not what he wants. You want to be smooth, and you don't want to be sliding because, first of all, you're losing speed. You're not gaining speed. You're losing speed, and you're eating these tires up, and you still got 10 laps to go. Ooh, see, that's what I mean. You just lose it on a slow turn like that. It looks awesome, but it's just not fast enough. More and more distance between Herzog. Oh, we have Fontaine in trouble. Let's go see if we can find out what we have here. We've seen more people missing that second part of the chicane. Probably will have a slowdown penalty here. Hanging on to third spot, though, Samuel Fontaine. Let's go back to Adam Sturgill. Second spot, 3.3 seconds behind the 47 of Herzog. You saw him going out of your picture there. There he is in the distance. Once again, Adam is doing an awesome job throwing that back end around and drifting it almost like it's ice speedway, but oh, I hope he's got some tires left for those final laps. Sliding over those front tires as well. And it looks like he's trying to be a little bit more careful. He's going to have to. Those tires won't last forever. The more you do it, the worse they get. They're running too hot. They're going to get mushy. Samuel Fontaine in the third position, 28 seconds behind Sturgill. Then it's 7 seconds further back to Jake Brooks. And it is 41 seconds further back to Matthew Telder. Once again, hard on those sausage curbs. Kevin Anderson is in 6th. Jeff Horniak still in 7th. Jason Coe still running in 8th. And I do believe that Allen is out. Your leader here. Whoa. Once again. Hard on those curves. That's better. Almost 6 seconds now between Herzog and Sturgill. Lap 23 of 30. We have 8 more laps to go. And I'm sure Adam is hanging on for dear life. That car is just not doing what he wants it to do. And as much as I enjoy watching it, he is overdriving that car a little bit. And he kind of did so right out of the box when he had those new tires. He started overdriving it, and it just gets worse from there. Oh, he looked like he had a bit of an off. What happened? Yeah, it gets a little bit too tight in that turn there. Ooh, there you go. Turning it around, and like I said, oh, and now he's, I mean, it's a way to turn the car around, I know that, but it's burning up those tires. If I were him, I would just go back and get some new ones. What's the difference? You're not going to catch Mark Herzog this way. Samuel Fontaine hanging on to third, closing in now by to Adam. Not nearly near enough to do anything, obviously, but it's down to 17 seconds now, and Sturgill now 18 seconds behind Herzog. Let's go take a look at how Herzog handles his car. Herzog is a little bit easier on that throttle coming off that turn. Doesn't slide that back end nearly as bad. And it may look a little bit more boring maybe to you, but it is definitely the quicker way to go. Sometimes slow is fast. If you give it too much throttle, especially these trucks, you just lose the back end way too easy. And he almost had it step out here, and he just gets off the throttle and tries to keep that from happening. And it doesn't look spectacular, and it doesn't even look fast, but it is. He's already gained another 2 seconds on Sturgill, so that is the way to do it. Same thing here. Easy on the gas. Don't see him slip sliding around all that much at all, and those tires are just as old as Sturgill's. We get a chance, we might ask him about that. And it looks like Adam's a little bit more careful now. He's still got 7 more laps to do on this race, and he needs to start being a little bit worried about Fontaine. And there we see Brooks getting in trouble. He just misses his braking points, it looks like, and then gets it sideways, catches it, coming back on track. Nothing major. And a little bit wide in the hairpin now as we pick him back up going live. It looks to me like everybody is just struggling with tire wear. Samuel Fontaine is now 15 seconds behind Sturgill, so I mean that margin is big enough for Adam to hang on to second place if he just doesn't make any mistakes. He can just hang on to that car. Looks like Jake is going into the pits. He's had enough of slip sliding around. He's got 31 seconds on Matthew Telder. He should be able to bring it back out before Matthew gets there. Although the pit is frustratingly long at those pit lane speed limits. There's Matthew Telder coming at us. He still has that chicane. There's the entry to the pit lane. Jeremy Brooks is still getting his service, so there's Matthew Telder. He's going to lose that spot to Matthew Telder. He's still in the pit lane. He's coming down now. He's coming out now. He's not going to make it. Telder has picked up that position. There you have him. They're coming out right close together here. Telder running a little bit wide. The 57 does have a good chance to pick that back up here because he's on brand new tires. You can see the purple car slip sliding around. So Brooks just needs to be a little bit careful warming those tires up the first half, the lap to first full lap, and then go after Matthew Telder. You see that it's much easier for Brooks to run that tighter line there. You see the purple car sliding, and Jake Brooks, already alongside now. That is 4th position, so he brings it back into 4th position, passing Matthew Telder, who is on older. Oh, he gets it wrong. He's gonna get a slowdown penalty because of that, and he'll have to try again. Coming towards the hairpin. Shouldn't take him too long to catch back up to Telder. On the straightaway now, it'll be easier for him to get on the throttle. inching towards Teller already. And then into that chicane. Oh, oh, that was rough. And he makes it stick. There we have him in turn one. Ooh, the O2 sliding a little bit far to the outside. Same here, sliding to the outside. Now we're coming to the part of the track where Brooks should be able to catch up with Teller fairly easy. He should be quicker in these chicanes. He should be coming towards that purple car pretty rapidly now. Ooh, there he's pulling down, at least slowing down for some reason. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened here. Did he blow that engine somehow? I have no idea what happened there. Could be something with his hardware at home. Steering wheel maybe loose on the desk. We've had people had that. Ooh, we have Horniak in trouble. Bring her back. Misses his braking once again. The brake bias looks to be not the problem because he's sliding on the front wheels. Just worn tires. And the tricky part is always that grass. When you get back on the track, you have no grip on that grass. It looks a little silly maybe sometimes, but it is not easy. Herzog is starting on that long straightaway here, still in the lead, 27 seconds ahead of Adam Sturgill. Sturgill 14 seconds. Oh, he gets it wrong. Oh, what happened? What happened? What happened? Oh, two wheels in the grass. Loses the back end once again. He bangs it up pretty bad, but he's still running. As long as he can keep it running. Because we're on lap 28 now. That car doesn't look straight anymore. Nope, I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's not too bad. It's just banged up on the sheet metal. He's still 18 seconds ahead of Samuel Fontaine. That tells me that Fontaine has had his own fair share of incidents. And once again, Sturgill sliding that back end around. Let's go check on Fontaine coming into the chicane by the Wall of Champions. There you have him on the main straightaway. Yeah, it looks like that car is not free of damage either. He's had his own fair share of trouble. Matthew Teller in fourth. And I'm not sure what happened to Jake Brooks, but he dropped back about 10 seconds from Teller as he was on new tires out of the pits. So he's having trouble here, and I'm not really sure what the issue it could be other than maybe some hardware issues. Steering wheels and pedals can give you trouble as well. He's still in fifth though. Ooh, once again, it looks like the brake, there's something wrong with the brakes. Every time he brakes, he gets into trouble. Once again. I just don't know what the deal is. It's interesting. It looks like he's really careful on those brakes too. Maybe something in the suspension's bent. Remember, he took one of those sausage curves really hard in that final chicane. Maybe he just bent up something. It's not impossible. Alright, so Mark Herzog is leading Adam Sturgill by almost 39 seconds now. So he's pretty safe. He's going to be seeing a white flag next time by. He's on his way to the hairpin now. No close battles on the track at this point. Sturgill in second place, 39 seconds behind. Being really careful. Fontaine's closed in on him a little bit and still trying, but I doubt it's going to be enough. 14 seconds in 2 laps, that's a tall order. That is Herzog closing in on, I believe that would be the 02 of Matthew Telder. That is not for position. He would be putting a lap on Matthew Telder. Ooh, Telder gets it wrong once again. Those tires are just gone. No grip at all. No grip at all. They're not even locking up. I mean, there's just no grip at all. I think they would have been better off if they would have split up this race and split it up in 2 pit stops instead of 1. And behind Telder there, we now see Jake Brooks. That is for position. That means Jake Brooks is back on the tail of Telder. Mark Herzog is on his final lap. He has seen the white flag. He is on the back end part of the track here now. Ooh, and there we see Telder getting it wrong once again, and that means that Jake Brooks is going to pick up 4th position. There you have him. Well, let's go back up to our leader. He's on his final stretch here. Fontaine has gained a little bit on Sturgill, but it's not nearly enough to be of any significance. Mark Herzog is going to win this race here in Montreal. Done a very, very good job. There you have him. Your race winner is Mark Herzog. And then we're waiting for Adam Sturgill, who is now just coming off that hairpin on that final stretch. He still has 12 seconds on Fontaine. Like I said, it's shrinking, but it's not enough. Final time through that chicane, past the wall of champions. Looks like Adam's just taking it easy and bringing it home in 2nd position there. Samuel Fontaine through the chicane, past the wall of champions, also being careful. A little bit under 12 seconds as he hits the line. And looks like Brooks is already finished. And it looks like we're waiting for Kevin Anderson to bring her back home. He is at the hairpin here. Kevin's running in 6th position. He looks like he's stayed out of trouble quite fairly. I don't see a lot of damage. Maybe the left front a little bit. So good job for Kevin. Through that final chicane here, taking his time, and on his way home to that finish line. There we have Mark Herzog coming back from his victory lap. I'm sure he might try to burn some rubber here, as if we haven't done enough of that yet. There he comes towards the line. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go do that. Oh, he actually parks it. All right, so let's bring up the results for you. There you have it. Herzog is your winner. Sturgill 2nd, Fontaine 3rd. Let's go find somebody to talk to. Mark Herzog, congratulations, my friend. That was a pretty good and solid win. What's your story?
Thank you. Yeah, it was pretty good. I was just trying to keep it. If you can keep it on the track and get zero exits, you got a good chance of finishing in the top. And I got lucky. Adam had a little bit of a trouble that allowed me to catch up to him, and I think I got him on the pit stops.
Yes, you did, and it looked like when he was running behind you after that pit stop, it kind of looked like he was just overdriving his car a little bit, and you were looking like you were staying a little bit calmer than he was, and I kind of tried comparing you both during that second half of the race, and it looked like you were doing a lot less of that slip sliding with the back end as he was, and saving your tires that way. Did I see that right?
Yeah, I found for me the secret is I spent most of the race in second and third gear. The only time I got into fourth gear was on the long straight down to the last hairpin or down to the last chicane.
So basically, you're kind of saying it's sometimes it's fast to be a little bit slower on the turns there.
Yeah, because it seemed to me if you would shift into third before those chicanes, you wouldn't have enough. You wouldn't be able to get the truck slowed down enough to make the chicane without getting wild. So I just stayed in second for the first chicane, third for the second chicane, and then down to first for the hairpin and up to fourth for that last chicane.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but that last chicane there's a wall on the exit there, and that is called the Wall of Champions. A lot of famous drivers have ended good races and chances for good finishes there. It looked like you took some of those sausage curves quite hard. Did the truck not give you any trouble with those big curves?
Yeah, that was my worry. If I hit that second curb too hard, it throws you out, and if you got to catch it before you can get to the wall. And luckily enough, I was able to catch it a couple of times. It went out that way.
It looked like you were on two wheels a little bit here and there. Well, good job, Mark. Congratulations on the win. Do you do a lot of road racing?
I enjoy it, but I don't get as much of it. Most of the road racing I do is with road cars, not with the NASCAR vehicles.
Do you feel that they are very different as far as handling is concerned from the regular GTs and the open wheel cars and stuff like that?
Oh, most definitely. They're just really not built for turning left and right consistently.
What about setup wise? You guys were running a fixed setup. Did the setup feel good for you?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think that, like I said, because of the way these got only got four gears, so you're either lugging it or you got to hit just stay in the rev limiter like I was doing, stay in a gear short for instead of going to the next gear.
Gotcha. Well, once again, Mark, congratulations. I think you ran a very solid performance here. Any love yous and thank yous you want to throw out?
I just need to thank the guys for putting on the series. It's fun, a lot of good guys here. Thank you for putting on a broadcast for us to watch. And most of the guys have been really, really nice to me. This is my first time around with these guys, and it's been a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks very much, Mark. And once again, congratulations.
Thank you. Take care.
You too. Sam, it looks like we get to talk twice today, sir. Third
Yes,
place,
we do.
third place once
Yeah.
again. How was the race going for you?
Early mistake. I locked the wheels trying to stay away of Jake Bumper on lap two. But otherwise, it went pretty well though. I do a quick pit to try to outpit Jake and those guys up front and win some time with the fresh tires, but it didn't work as planned. But still, was a fun race.
Now, do you feel that? I mean, you guys split the race up basically with one pit stop. Do you feel maybe those stints were a little bit long for those tires? It looked to me like a lot of guys, you included, were struggling on those final laps of those stints.
Uh, I think it was just fine. Of course, at the end, it was like a little bit difficult to keep the car, but I think when I lose a car on the one of the last laps, it was just because I made a little mistake. It wasn't because of the car. That curve is always tricky. Turn seven, like, can't to be loose, and I did a little mistake and lose a truck, and kind of hard to save there.
I see. It looked like you weren't the only one. You were in the final few laps. You were gaining on Adam Sturgill. Did you have any hopes of catching him, or was it just too far out?
No, I was seeing that time going down, dropping a bit, and actually that was my motivation to reach him. I know he was doing some mistake, and I was catching on him. Unfortunately, I did a mistake 2 laps to go, so broke a little bit my hopes to catch him. But it was still a fun race, and yeah.
Absolutely a fun race for sure. All right, Sam. Once again, you get to do some love yous and thank yous again before we go.
Yeah, first of all, you man, really good job on the broadcast, and again, the guy from the league, Jake and Mike, that they are putting a really good league, and my team again, once again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that about us. We're having a lot of fun doing this, and these are great races. I totally agree with you. Great group of guys. There's a lot of good, clean racing going on. Everybody has their fair share of a little incident, but that's just part of what we do, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a really good group of racer, really respectful.
Absolutely. All right, Samuel, once again, hope to see you again in both races next week and maybe even a little bit higher up on the order.
Hopefully, yes.
All right, we'll see you next week, bud.
See ya.
All right, folks. Adam Sturgill is nowhere to be found for me here in the booth and in Discord. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it at that. Not sure if he was on there at all. Maybe just a little bit disappointed about how things went. I do believe he did a terrific job saving that car time and time and time again. But as I said, I do believe he overdrove it a little bit after that pit stop trying to catch up to Mark Herzog. And you heard Mark tell us about how sometimes taking it a little bit more easy is just turning out to be faster, and he proved that today. He made his point. He brought it home in the first position, and let's see. Oops. There is your final results are still up here. Sturgill 39 seconds behind Herzog in second position. Samuel Fontaine in third, 51 seconds behind the leader, and then Jake Brooks, Matthew Telder, and Kevin Anderson, all three a lap behind the leaders. Horniak, 2 laps behind the leaders. Jason Coe, 9 laps behind the leaders. And then Brent Allen, Michael Steffen, Kevin Davis, Richard Benedetto, and Brian Smith did not make it rolling across the line. They had some issues getting used to this kind of racing, obviously. And I hope they still had fun, because that's what it's all about, folks. Next week we are going to go back to driving left turns, and we're going to be doing that in Bristol. And that is a tricky one, as well as most of you will probably know, as you're probably NASCAR fans. Bristol is a tricky track for pretty much every kind of car you take there. Trucks, cup cars, or whatnot, it doesn't matter. It's always a very crowded and busy, short little circle, so we're going to be seeing some spectacular racing there next week for sure. So I hope you enjoyed the race here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal, Canada. I sure did. It's always fun to do something different every once in a while. I always enjoy these NASCAR boys trying to take on a road course with all its differences and difficulties that they face, just as much as it is fun to see real road racers taking on fast speedways sometimes. They all have their own style of doing things, and switching from one to the other is just not easy. I hope you had fun. We'll hope to see you again next week for the modifieds right around, what is it, 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, and no, I'm sorry, 7:30 Central Standard Time, and then an hour or two later, the trucks on Bristol. The modifieds are going to Irwindale. The trucks are going to Bristol. So hope to see you there. This is Short Shift Broadcasting. My name is Mark. We hope to see you then. Thank you so much for tuning in.